Trial Tuesday once again. Today we're discussing the infamous Westboro Baptist Church. Attorney David Aylor, a man who is routinely followed by a large crowd of fanatics as well, joins me this morning to weigh in. So, David, these people, who are they exactly and what do they do? A lot of headlines about them, and it all seems to be pretty negative.
Well, it's very controversial, and obviously a lot of things that are controversial are negative because that brings out the anger and frustration in people. And I think last night we had an example here in Charleston where that occurred. This is a group that you could say they were politically motivated. They clearly come from a religious background and their own beliefs. And over the years, particularly over the last probably 10 years or so, they've done a lot of protesting at what you usually wouldn't think would be something you would protest. For instance, military funerals.
Right. They show up at funerals. The Patriot Guard now has kind of been assigned to follow these people around and protect them from coming in and protesting these funerals. And it's such a skewed view of interpretation of religion. It seems that a lot of people aren't fans, of course, but the church, is protected under the First Amendment, freedom of speech. So this has got to be a pretty difficult thing for a lot of people to swallow.
Yeah, absolutely. And the bottom line, they are protected. Under the First Amendment, they're protected. And the things that they're going to look at is the time, the place, and the manner of these protests that they're having. And if those are all in place and they're able to get permits if needed, then they absolutely can come and protest and speak any message they would like, no matter what you or I believe. But no different than any other political party or artistic work or that sort of thing. That obviously there's going to be things that people don't agree with under all circumstances. They just choose to go at a little bit more of an extreme view of things, which upset a lot of people. And like I said, last night was a good example of that, and they didn't even show up.
Well, I got to ask you about that because a famous case that we study in the communications business is yelling fire in a crowded theater. I'm sure you have studied that case back in law school as well. Does this kind of get to that point? Because they are shouting some pretty incendiary things.
Right. They are saying things that obviously can be concerning and hurtful to people, but what they're not doing is inciting any violence. That's what it's really key to, is if they're somehow inciting violence or and maybe even physically imposing on people, that sort of thing is where you're going to see an issue. But it's no different than when people, go to perhaps abortion clinics and protest things like that, or certain political events. As long as they're within reason with what they're doing, they're going to be protected under the First Amendment, regardless of their message.
Well, Counselor, I wanted to ask you that because sometimes these protests can get so intense that violence might break out. Now, if someone was to, let's say, take a swing at one of the members of this Westboro Baptist Church, that's what they want to have happen. But is there any kind of legal backing for that, saying that this person said something that really hurt my feelings? That is not going to hold up in a court of law.
Absolutely, just like it wouldn't hold up in your elementary school. No matter what's said doesn't mean that you can physically attack these people. So when that does occur, obviously you have issues both criminally and perhaps civilly. You also have issues civilly when these individuals are not allowed to protest, and that becomes a violation of the First Amendment rights.
Right.
Believe it or not, the Westboro Baptist Church has a number of excellent attorneys, constitutional lawyers, that they hire and that work with them. When in fact they're denied this right, they come back and sue municipalities, different groups, and they're very successful at it.
The other point of this we just had right before we started this segment was that even the threat of this group coming can really cause a municipality, cause people within that municipality to take action, and then they don't even show up.
That's the power they have. They got the power for us to be talking about it right now, and that's due to, basically their history and the times they have showed up, and it very much infuriates people. They'll pull a permit, put out a press release that they're coming somewhere, then not even show up, but yet their name and their message has been put across that area's media so much that they feel like they've won anyway.
Right. The power of words. Attorney David Aylor, thank you so much for your time, sir. Do appreciate the conversation.
Thanks for having me.
Stay with us. We're back with more Low Country Live in just a moment.